So we're doing here in Moed Katan on 7b. So the Gemara is going to explain a previous statement. Bear with me. The previous statement said, Omar Mar. We had two opinions. We have the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi said, if the Kohen sees, this is talking about looking at a nega, determining that something is tome, that the rash, the nega that he has on his skin, makes him tome, to look at the rash during Chol HaMoed. And Rabbi Yossi's opinion was that if the Kohen sees him, he cannot withhold the status, which means he looks at him, at the rash. If it's clean, he tells him clean. If it's tame, he has to tell him tame. He cannot not say tame. Now, the thing is, it's the middle of the Yom Tov. People don't want to find out that they're tame in the middle of the Yom Tov. It's going to disturb their whole Yom Tov. But Rabbi Yossi says, if you are visited by the Kohen, he won't have a choice. If he's going to see that you're tame, he's going to have to tell you tame. And that's why don't bring in a Kohen on Chol HaMoed altogether. Because it's not optional to just make it clean or not. According to Rabbi Meir says, bring in the Kohen. Why? Because he says, if it's going to turn out that it's clean, so it's going to make him very happy. He decided that it's clean. No problem. But if he's going to see that it's not clean, he's going to withhold that verdict. He's just not going to say anything. And he's going to remain clean for the duration till after Yom Tov. That was the two opinions. Now, there is two steps by the Metzora also. There is the first 7 days in which you have the person locked up. It's called musgar. And after the 7 days, you take a look and you see, did it grow? Did it stay in the place? That's the first 7 days. That's called musgar. To find out, it could be clean. It could be tome. It could be locked up again. And then there is the second, that's called muchlat. Muchlat means when there is decided. No more locking up. You make a decision, is he tame or not tame? These are the two times that you have during the time of the nega. So what he said was like this, Omar Mar, he said like this, that Rebbe says like this, I nirin divrei Rabbi Yossi b'muchlat. I will soon see the meaning of it. He says, I will go along with Rabbi Yossi when we talk about a muchlat, which means that now we have to make a decision. After the second 7 days, we have to make a decision whether he's tome and he has to be going outside of the camp, muchlat, that means muchlat, then we're not going to bring in a kohen. But I will go because we're afraid what he might rule. But he says, I will go along with Rab Meir when it comes to a musgar, when it comes to the first 7 days, because in that case, we don't stand to lose anything. That's one way that we learn, and we're going to explain it in a minute. It's a big Rashi in a minute. So the Gemara says, "V'atanya ipcha," but we learn just the opposite. That Rebbe goes like Rabbi Meir by a muchlat and by Rabbi Yossi by a musgar, swaps it around. And the Gemara says, Tanoyi hi aliba de Rebbe. These are two Tanoim disagreeing what Rebbe's opinion is. So let's see how we're going to learn this. The difference is Mar Sovar Tzavso de Olma Odifle. One holds that being together with his friends is more advantageous to the person than being with his wife. Let's see what Rashi explains. Mar Sovar Tzavsa de Olma Odifle. So he says like this. Hai Tane, that Tane, the Omar, the one that says, Omar Rebbe, Nirin Divrei Rab Meir b'muchlat v'divrei Rab Yossi b'musgar. That's the second one. He's going now with the second one that we had, not the first one in the Gemara. The Tana that says the Ipcha, that he goes with Rab Meir by a muchlat with Rab Yossi b'musgar. He holds Sovar Sapso de Alma Odifle. He says to be together with the world, with his friends, is better for the person. He'd rather be with his friends. Ulahachi, and therefore, he'll go with Rab Meir Chazi b'mei chalutei. In the days when the decision has to be made, he'll go along with Rabbi Meir to go ahead and look at him and see whether he's a mitzvah or not. Why? Because either way, the imitamoi, because even if he's going to say that he's tamei, loy metame yoser meikora, he's not making him any more tamei than he was before. During the time before the Meichalutai, he is not allowed to be with the people. He's locked up. And now you're saying that he's Tomei. Okay, he's not allowed to be. He's not going to be more Tomei than before. So he's not losing anything. The imitare, but if he's going to tell him that he's tired, then he's going to make him happy. Why? The Islay Tzavsa de Alma, now he has companionship of the world because he's out of lockup, because now he became tired. Now, what happens once, this is an interesting halacha. Once the Mitzorah becomes Tahir, once he's ruled clean, then starts 7 days that he has to count and he can't be with his wife. The time when he is Tomei, he's allowed to be with his wife. But when he becomes clean, then starts the process of his healing. So for 7 days, he's not allowed to be with his wife. So even though if he makes him Tohir, so it means now he's going to be for 7 days prohibited to his wife, but he'd rather not be locked up, be open in the world. That's his opinion. Afal Gav, the Osur B'Tashmish Hamito, even though he'd be prohibited from being with his wife, Sapsa the Oma Odifle. But he's going to be still happy that he made him clean, which means that now he can go out from his lockup. So, therefore, he says, go ahead and see him, because making him Tomei, you ain't going to make him worse, and making him Torah will make him better because he can go out now, even though he can't be with his wife. But v'divrei Rabbi Yosef b'musgar, but Rabbi Yosef, he says not to see him at all, because if he's being locked up, that you should not go and see him then. Why? Because Dilma metamele chutz to give machnas. Because if he is going to decidedly that he's tamei, so now he's going to go outside of the 3 camps. So his situation, if he was musger the next 7 days, they are not going to be any worse than the first 7 days. So there's no loss there. But by mukhlat, we're afraid if you're going to be metame him, he's going to actually now get to go out outside the 3 camps, and he's going to be totally away from everybody. But Leslie Tzavsa Dalma Mitzarle, he's not going to have a friendship of the outside, and that's going to cause him pain. Umar Sovar, the other rabbi in the name of Rabbi, holds Tzavso di Ishto Yadifale. He holds that the connection, the friendship, being together with his wife is more advantageous to him. Do the Rashi. Mar sover tzavto di ishto adifale. Ulahachi, and therefore, chozilo b'moyed behesker sheni. And that's why he says that he should be able to see in the second lockup, which is the mukhlat. Because the imetare, because if he's going to say that he is clean, misabche, so then he's going to make him happy. So now he goes out. And even if he's going to say that he's Tomei and he's going to be decisively Tomei, he sends him out of the 3 camps. He doesn't have any people, so why are we bringing him in to make him Tomei? Okay, Metar is Mesamche, but what happens if he's going to say that he's Tomei? Afilu hochi lesle tzayda. He's still not going to have, it's not going to be a big deal. The ho'isle tzapsu di ishtoi, because he still has the companionship of his wife. Umutar hu bi ishtoi, and is permitted his wife. Lisyachadim of mechaluta, in the days of his chaluta, it's okay. B'divrei Rabbi Yossi b'muchlat. Again, so we're having like this. Chazile b'moyed behezger sheni. So, that's the opinion of Rabbi Meir to see him. But if he's a muchlet, dafilu mitahir le, even if he's going to be mitahir him, the alpha gav the shorele lemachne Yisrael, even though he's going to allow him to go into the Jewish camp because he's Torah now, he's litzaida. He's still going to be in pain. Why? The less litzavse the ishtay, because now he doesn't have the companionship of his wife. Because when he becomes Torah, the less litzavse the ishtay, the osuru, because he is prohibited. Because the kivon, the metar le mechalutai, since he's being tired from chalutai, mi boile le mimne sheva yimei sviroi, he has to count the 7 days of svira. Ubi mei svira also betash samita, during the time of the svira, he's not allowed to be with her. Iksiv, as the pasuk says, v'yoshav mechutz la'oloi shivas yomim, stay outside of his tent for 7 days. That that's his wife. Tiksiv, as the pasuk says, shuvu lachem la'alechem. So we don't want by mechalutai. We're afraid that you're going to be metahir. So behezger sheni, we're not worried about it. But by chaluta, we worry about it because if he makes him toher, he's going to lose the tzavso, the companionship of his wife. Okay. I know it's complicated, but I don't think that going over again is going to take away the complications, so we'll just move on. We're going to move on until we get to a little bit. But the Gemara challenges, you're saying that if they're going to tell him that he is muchla, that he's tameh, he's still going to be permitted in the companionship of his wife. So the Gemara says, lememra, shall we say, the muchlat mutar b'tash mishamito, that one who has been decidedly tameh is still going to be allowed to be with his wife? And the Gemara says, yes, that is true. That during the time that he's tameh in the machlota, but it still doesn't take away from him being with his wife. Behotanya, because the pasuk says, "V'yoshav mechutz la'oloi." But the Gemara says, but the pasuk says, "V'yoshav mechutz la'oloi shivas yomim," that he should sit outside of his tent for 7 days. And we learn from this pasuk, sheyeh also b'tash mishamita, that he should not be allowed to cohabitate. So how come you're saying that a muchlat is permitted tash mishamita? And when it says stay out of your tent, vein ole ishtay, when it says ole, it means your tent, stay out of your tent. That means the tent here refers to his wife. Shenemar, where do we find the tent referring to his wife? Because when Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu after Matan Torah, he says to them, Leich amoir lohem, shuvu lochem le'oholechem. Go tell them, which means Hashem is saying to Moshe Rabbeinu, go tell the Jewish people, you go back to your tents. What does it mean, go back to your tents? Go back to your wives. That's where Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu not to marry Tzipporah anymore, that he shouldn't be with Tzipporah. So how come you're saying that a muchlat is mutar b'tashmish when it says that it has to be for 7 days outside of his tent? That means he's not allowed to be. And the Gemara says, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, so Rabbi Yehuda answered, because the pasuk in Yecheskel Memdalet says, Shivas Yomim Yispuruloi. 7 days they should count for him. It says, over there's the Yisrael. Yemei Sviroi V'lo yimei chalutay. Only the day that is counts, not on the days that he's decided. If he's counting to become tohir, that's when he has to be chutz la'olei, shivas yom. But if he's not counting, he didn't start the process of counting of tahara, but he's tomei because yimei chalutay, it doesn't apply then. Rashi says yimei sfiroi, also b'tash mishamita v'lo yimei chalutay. Only in the day that you're counting is b'tash mishamita, but not in the days that he's decidedly. But that's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Zayin Yemei Sviroi, if the 7 days that you're counting to become Toher is prohibited, of course when you're Tomei that you're not allowed to.
Makes sense.
So, in other words, he doesn't agree that Yemei Chalute, when he's Tomei, if you're counting to become Toher, you're not allowed to be Lo Lechem. So why? How for sure during when he's actually Tomei? So Ba'amar Reb Chia said, Damti Lifnei Rebbe, so that I was judging in front of Rebbe, I was debating this. He says, Limaditonu Rabbeinu, our master, you taught us, Yoisam loy hoyo loy leuziyohu elo b'mei chalutei. Yoisam was born to Uziyahu. Uziyahu was plagued with leprosy. And his son, Yoisam, was born in the days in which he was chalute, which means he was tomei with the leprosy. That means that he was with his wife. So we see that during the Yemei Chalute, you can be with your wife because that's when he was born from. Rashi, Yosem lohoyolu Uziyahu elu b'mei Chalute. Yosem was not with Uziyahu just in the days of Chalute. Koloimar, Rashi says, Lo nis abra imay de Yosem. The mother of Yosef did not become pregnant. Elo b'mei Chalutoi de Uziyahu. Only during the days when Uziyahu was decisively Tomei. Uziyahu hoya mitzayra, because Uziyahu was a mitzayra, and he didn't have intimacy with his wife during the time that he was counting, only in the days of Chaluta. So he proves to him that during Yemei Chaluta it's mutter. Amar loi. So he answered him. So Rabbi said to Rabbi Chia, he agreed. Afani kachomarti. I also said so. Afani kachomarti zokt Rashi. Afani kachomarti mitzayra mutter betash mishamita. That he is permissible to be with his wife. Divayoshav mechutz la'oloi, when it says outside, that he's prohibited to be meisfiriksiv. That's when he's counting to the Shiva Nikim to go back after his leprosy is over. So what's the machlokes between Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yehuda and his father Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yehuda Sovar. Rabbi Yosef and Yehuda holds Goli Rachmonu b'mei Sfiroi. The Torah revealed to us during the days of the counting, the Kol Shkem b'mei Chalutah. And of course, in the day that is Chalutah, that it would be Osur. Umar Sovar, and Rabbi Yehuda holds, my Degoli Goli, my Deloi Goli, only what the Torah told us, which is during the day of Shviroi, and what it didn't reveal to us, it didn't reveal. We don't have a Kal V'Chomer. The Rabbi Sovar, my Degoli Goli, L'hochi Amrini Yemei Shviroi, V'lo Yemei Chalutei. That's why we say only the days of counting and not the day of Chalutei, because that's what the Torah revealed to us, that only during the days that he counts the 7 days to becomes clean. But during the time of the Chalutah, so he's mutter to his oil, to his wife. Okay, the Gemara has another question now. It turns out over here that it's sort of up to the Kohen to make him Tomei or not Tomei. I mean, if the Kohen wishes, he can do whatever he wants. So the Gemara says, Lamemra, shall we say, the Bekoyen Talia Milsa, that this matter depends on the Kohen. It's in the Kohen's hand to make the person Tomei or not. And Rashi explains, Lamemra, the Bekoyen Talia Milsa, so Rashi Porich Bein le Rabbi Meir, Bein le Rabbi Yosef. This question is both according to Rabbi Meir, who says that he can only say Tomei and he can only say Toher, he doesn't have to say Tomei. But even according to Rabbi Yossi, that say you don't visit at all, that means that he doesn't have to say that he's Tomei, even though he's Tomei. The Rabbi Meir, Eimer Behedye, Tomei Shase. Rabbi Meir says clearly that if he is Tomei, he is quiet. That means it's up to him not to say anything to the Kohen. But Rabbi Yossi says, Ein Roim, that you're not going to see Klal. So if you're not going to see Michlal, the Rabbi Yossi Sover, if he doesn't want, he doesn't have to see, so he's not going to become Tomei. So he also agrees, okay, don't show the Kohen, and he's not going to become Tomei. You know, sometimes they say an expression and a joke. They say, Ashayla, if you ask the rabbi, it's treif, because but if you don't ask the rabbi, then, you know, if you don't ask the Kohen, you're not gonna have to deal with the tummy. How could that be? And the Gemara says, "Ein, yes, it's actually up to the Kohen. The Torah made the Kohen, gave the rights to the Kohen to go ahead to determine whether it is tummy or not. Because that's what we learned. And the pasuk says, "Uviyoim herois boy hanaga," on the day that you will see the nega. Why does the Torah say uviyoim on that day? That is an exclusion to tell us, yesh yom sha'ata roye boy. There is a day that you look. The yesh yom sha'ata roye boy. There's a day that you don't look at there. So in other words, it's arbitrary. You don't have to look. Mikan omru. From here we say, chosen shenoilad boy nega. It was a chosen who had a leprosy. Neistim lo zayin yemei hamishta. We give him the 7 days of the 7 days that he's not going to look at him. The Kohen is not going to look at him. Why? He might make the chosen tummy. And not only do we give it to him, we give it loi to him, or lebeisoi. That is, if he has the plague, and also his house that he owns, if there is a plague on the house, ulichsusoi, and also if there is a plague on the garment, imnira lechasusoi, imnira hanega b'chasusoi, if the plague is visible on the garment. So this is a time that you're not going to look during the chosen, during the 7 days of the marriage, the 7 days Shivas Yimei HaMishta, we're not going to look. And that's it. So we're not going to find them. The same thing if somebody gets a nega during the holiday, you give him the 7 days of the Yandevs, we're not going to look at it. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, that's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. So he learns it out from the pasuk of B'yom Harois. But the Rabbi Omer Einei Tzorich. Rabbi says we don't need this pasuk, because it says just look in the pasuk when it talks about a house becoming, with a plague becoming tummy. The pasuk says, before the kohen comes to see if there's a plague in the house, he says, take everything out of the house, so that if he will say that it's tummy, the things will not become tummy. So here you see, we're going to wait for him to clean out the house so that it doesn't become tummy. If we wait for him for an optional matter, his home has just regular stuff. There's no mitzvah there. Zakt Rashi. Because we wait for him. We're not going to say the house is tummy ad shemefane kol hakelim shebebais, until he's going to clean out all the vessels from the home, so they're not going to become tummy before the kohen is going to declare tummy. So from this we learn the betume di begufe. If there is a tumor, a plague in your body, nami mamtin ledover harishus, you're also going to wait for an optional matter. Dumya dohocha, just like here. Kivon the ashkichon the betuma the gufa mamtinle the dover reshus. Since we find that for a tuma of his body, we wait for an optional matter. For sure, you'll wait for a mitzvah like for a chosn and the Yom Tov. So we don't even need that pasuk b'yom eros. Kolshkin l'dvar mitzvah. So what's the difference if we learn it from the pasuk b'yom eros boy, or from this pasuk? Amar Abayis says Abayis mashmos dorshim iko benayu. It's just a different way to expound the pasuk. Mashmos dorshim the mar dorish micro, or mar dorish micro. One learns it from one pasuk, the other one learns from the other pasuk, but nothing significant. But Rava says davar horishus iko benayu, that an optional matter is the difference between them. So Rashi, davar horishus benayu. Rabbi Yehuda the mapik mibiyoim herois boy. Rabbi Yehuda learns it out from the pasuk biyoim herois boy. Umekan omru choson v'regel. And from here we say that a choson regel, dahainu mitzvah, which is a mitzvah, mamtinin loy. Then we'll take a wait for a mitzvah. Avol lidloy lidover rishus, but not to an optional matters. Avodover ei mamtinin loy. But for an optional matter, we're not going to wait for him. Betume de gufe, if it's a bodily tumor. By over there, it's in the house, you're going to wait for a dover shus. But Rabbi Sovar, the dover shus, nami mamtin aloi. And Rabbi holds, he learns out from the other pasuk, that also a dover shus, you're also going to wait for him. Kidaram rinon le'il, the Rabbi Yolif, tuma de guf, lahamtin loy metuma de beis. Over there, he learns that even a tumor of the body will, from tumor of the basin, we will wait also for an optional no thing. Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda, who disagrees, because before, when a machloek is between Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda, um, Oh no, because he disagrees. Trying to think. Um, it's Rabbi Yehuda is the one who learns from the first posik. I guess V'yomer Rois boy Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Oh, that's what I missed out. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. He's the one that learns. I was looking for Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda, Ma'asam legamrina. You can't learn out from the posik V'tziva HaKoyen. Why? The chidushu, because that's a chiddush. So we can't learn out to other places. The wherever there's a chiddush is only the chiddush, but you can't learn out anything else besides the chiddush. As turn the page, Chesam Aleph. The eitzim va'avonim. This is a din. Normally, wood and stone ba'alma metamu. Normally, they're not metame. If you have wood or stone, they don't get tame. But over here in the house by the plague, metamu, because you have to take apart the whole house, the wood and the stone. The eitzim, why not metamu? The eitzim is pshute klei eitz lemekabel tuma, because eitzim are considered to be pshute klei eitz, which means they don't have a receptacle, and they're not mekabel tuma. And here they are metam. Okay, now why does Rebbe Omar Yitzrich? Why does Rebbe need the pasuk ubi yom herois? Kloimer, Rebbe Omar Yitzrich, Kloimer. Af agav the yoliv tuma de gufa mit tuma de lav gufa ledavar reshus mivitziva koyin. Even though he learns out from even a bodily tuma, from a tuma which is not in the body, from a tziva koyin, he does apply it according to Rabbi. So why does he need the pasuk b'yom harois? Yitzrich b'yom harois, boy. The kosav rachmona b'yom harois, boy. Have a mina lidvar mitzvah ein lidvar rishus loy. Then I would think only for a mitzvah, but not for davar rishus. So that's why we need the other pasuk of by waiting for the kohen, v'tziva kohen. Kosav rachmona v'tziva kohen. Because of Rachmona v'tziva koyin, havamina hani in only these lav tuma de gufa, because it's not a bodily tuma. Aval tuma de gufa, but if it's a bodily tuma, ema merzi chazilei. Aval tuma de gufa ema loy de lo yoliv tuma de gufa mituma de lav gufa ledover reshus mevitziva hakoyin. We would not learn tuma of the body from a tuma. It's not the body for davar reshus from the tziva koyin, because the havamina, if we didn't have a special pasuk, the havamina chidushu, we were thinking of chidushu. So therefore, kamash malon ubiyoim harois. That's why the pasuk tells us ubiyoim harois. The hainu tuma de gufa, which is a tuma de gufa, the mamtinin loy the dvar mitzvah. That for a dvar mitzvah we will wait. Since we already see that at least for the Dvar Mitzvah, we learn that we wait for him. So then it has the power that we're going to learn from Tziva Koyen. Once we learned already that we're going to wait by a mitzvah for a Tumah de Gufay, then we're going to say that we're going to learn from Mitziva Koyin that we'll wait for not mitzvah even in a Tumah de Gufa. And that's why Tzricha would need both or something. I know it's a complicated piece of Gemara. Go ahead.
It seems like the one line on the top of the page about the 8 seam just seems like it was dropped in the wrong place.
No, that's why we can't learn. The Gemara says we can't learn Bechlal from the case. What the Gemara said on the top of the page, the Eitzim Avonim Ba'amalei Metamu, what the Gemara is saying that we cannot learn out from the halacha that the kohen moves away everything before he comes in there, because that's bechlal a weird case. The Gemara is saying over there. Why would the wood become tamei? So therefore, you can't use that pasuk as a proof for anything, and it has its own dinim, but it's not going to tell you. We only know from the pasuk b'yom hara'os that for a mitzvah you can go ahead, but not for a non-mitzvah from there, because that's a separate. It's a chiddush dika case, and the chiddush is the fact that the wood and the stones normally do not mekabel tumah, and over here you're saying that they're mekabel tumah. So that's the reason why we can't learn from there.
Got it.
Okay, we'll leave it over here, and next week, I don't know if I mentioned to you, next week I have a wedding on Tuesday in New York, so I have to cancel it. And possibly
your wedding?
Next week I have a wedding. Somebody making a wedding. One of the shul people is making on Tuesday. So I will be at the wedding on Tuesday. So we can't have class next week. The following week, I have another wedding. That's my nephew, but the wedding is on Monday. So I hope that by Tuesday, but it's in California. So we'll stay tuned. Mitzvah Shem will have the second. I don't know exactly what the circumstances. I'm staying there for 2 days, on Monday and Tuesday. So I don't know what my circumstances will be on Tuesday. So stay tuned. We'll see. We'll do what we can. In the meantime, have a great week. And I look forward to seeing everybody next time we have the class.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.